Kind of pretty. All right. So it's the next day. These things in the booth are looking pretty nice. I mean, that's a decent looking intake manifold, I'd say. So I need to go ahead. I already threw the valve covers on it real quick and the little coil cover. Dave, what do you think? You think just lever primer gray?
Yeah, it offsets the silver.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of dulls out the silver and makes it look. I don't know. You think I should leave it on there to pay homage to my the previous primer videos?
Just do some matte clear.
Yeah. I mean, it almost does look kind of cool like that, but it looks clean. No, I'm going to be painting these things in a little bit. I want to go ahead and probably throw the valve covers on officially with the, the hardware, the new valve cover gaskets, and then the new intake manifold gasket, and then get the fuel rail sitting in there with the injectors and all that stuff. All while kind of trying to get the other things set up in the booth, like those little red pieces over there. Going in. We finally have a worthy home for these injectors.
You just push, and I'll just.
And then they're kind of weird going in there. The slat too.
Did it come with like Allen's?
No.
Didn't come
If
with
you would
bolts?
have done that, it would have came with Allen's. Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I would have probably put Allen's in there too.
Probably need Allen's. Those heads are too flared out.
Ooh, big R.
Guess how much it was for like a whole bag of bolts?
$6.
Yeah.
You're gonna have pink bolts though.
Actually, I feel like it's.
It's all pretty, you can't see it. It's all hides because everything's just black.
That's kind of pretty though. I almost was gonna get Allen's, but the Allen's were like $2 a piece, and they didn't have the long ones. Doing a little test fit of the Ganador mirrors on there. I think they look pretty damn good. What do you think?
I've always liked them.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure these are the real deal. They had numbers and things on them.
Yeah, they're expensive.
They're rare too for these things. They're like really expensive. I don't even.
Correct.
Period correct. Just like my headlight bulbs, halogen. Right, Dave?
Yeah, it's fine.
No, I'm actually getting LEDs.
LEDs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Nick convinced me. Nick
I got
convinced me.
LEDs, they aren't there.
Oh, hey, didn't see it. So I'm just giving these guys a quick little scuff because they sat overnight, and since it's like a 2K primer, it gets hard. And there's I don't know the exact recoat window, but there's recoat windows with stuff where if you don't paint it within a certain amount of time, like we were expecting to paint this stuff last night, and it basically sat overnight and got hard. And so if I were to just like paint over this, it might not stick. So that's why I'm just hitting it with a little bit of this like gray Scotch-Brite. It's really fine. Typically doesn't show up in metallic or anything like that. So
yeah, we're good. And then we got the charity wing caps hung up in here, along with the like rear splash guards on there. So
I'm getting ready to pour this paint. This is like this weird. It's kind of a pink. It's like a coppery pink, and that's the base coat for this red, or like the candy. So essentially there's 3 coats. There's, you know, your base coat, which is this, and then you layer like layers of transparent like red over it. So like the red that I'm going to be using is in here, and you can see how that's kind of transparent in the clear. And so what you do is you just kind of build up the coats, and you get, you know, the first coat will be kind of light and it'll almost look pink, and the second one will get, you know, darker, and then the third one will be like really red. And I do about 2.5 coats. But this is the Deltron paint, and that's the DC 3000 clear coat. So what's different about this candy coat, like the inner coat, is like the red tint is actually in the clear coat instead of being in, like, let's say like DBC 500 or something like that, which is kind of basically something to get it out of the gun, or like a clear base coat. But this kind of what it does is it kind of builds up layers and gives it a little bit more depth. But somebody was asking me about like a tour of like my paint system, or what I use to paint. This is a Iwata LS400. I ended up getting this thing at the pawn shop. It's like an $800 gun, and I got it 4 years ago at the pawn shop. And literally it was so dirty and crusty and grimy and gross. You could see like all the little chip marks in there from somebody like picking away trying to get the paint out of it. And you couldn't even tell what paint gun this was. Like, I barely cleaned it off enough to see that it was an Iwata, and I like Googled the part number. Initially they wanted like 300 bucks for it, and I think I ended up getting it for like 120 or something. But it was seriously sitting in the shelf for like over a year because nobody knew what it was. Yeah, so what I had to do is replace the tip. I got this base coat tip. It had a clear coat tip on it, and I didn't really like it, but I just used this gold base coat tip with it now. Oh, and I think I had to buy a lid. But yeah, really nice paint gun, and I have a couple others too that I use. A lot of the times I'll use this. This was my first real paint gun. This is a Satajet NR2000. A lot of guys know these from back in the day, and it's a pretty decent gun. This was also from the pawn shop. I don't use that one really at all anymore because this one basically does everything I need it to. And then this is what I do a lot of, like my like normal base coats, like little primer jobs and stuff like that. It's Graco, like Sharpie or whatever, Finex FX 3000. And this is a nice little gun. It's like 80, 90 bucks, like brand new. A hell of a lot better than, like, let's say like a Harbor Freight gun or something. These are like the $14, you know, this is like a 1/8 tip primer gun. This has a 1/5 tip in it, and I usually reduce my primer just a little bit more and usually spray it out of here. And I'll do base coats and random stuff that's not metallic with this. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This stuff in here is already ready to spray. So all I need to do is just pour it in the gun. I've already put it over there on the paint shaker. And I throw this tape right here on the edge just so that it doesn't fill up these edges, and then you have to end up like scraping it out, and we put the lid in there, so it kind of keeps it nice. And this has already been reduced. Normally on base coats you reduce them like 1:1 with reducer. And typically I spray PPG products. You know, that's what DNS, my local paint supplier, sells. And it's a really easy system to spray. I mean, honestly, it's not really that complicated. Like, I mean, as long as you're good at pulling the trigger on the gun and watching, like, you know, your coats, and you keep a wet edge in your clear coat or whatever, like, you could typically spray it. Like, I just don't understand why people like rattle can stuff. Like, if you could rattle can something like halfway good, you could probably paint it, and you could buy like a $35 gallon of like single stage and like not kill your finger. And you have a whole gallon of single stage versus like 27 rattle cans. So I don't know.
See, or kind of, you know, the road. Right?
I mean, really, that would look dope. It's expensive too.
Look what that face looks like.
That's expensive. If you guys are curious about like mixing ratios, like when I say 4:1, you go right here to this thing and it says 4:1:1:1. So since you're mixing 4:1, you just go to 4 every time. So so you go to 4 right here because that's 4 parts, and then you go to 4 right there and that's 1 part, and you go to 4 again if you want 4:1:1. Same thing with 3:1. You know, you basically just pick your number and it's scaled correctly again. So. Yeah, stuff just looks like blood. All right, well, we're ready to do the first, like, I don't know, half coat. We're doing a half coat. I'm running a little bit higher pressure, so that's what I did the first time, and I shouldn't have done that. So, you know, we'll see.
Dial it down.
Let's see. What?
Dial it
No,
down.
I need to, because this is what I did on the rest of the car. Like, I shouldn't have done it on the car, but I did, and then now we did, so now I have to do it on this, and I have to replicate. So it's my fault, but I gotta do it. Alright guys, so here is the final product. I went ahead and added 2 coats of regular clear coat on top of the red clear coat, just to give it like that additional protection, as well as I'll be able to actually cut and buff it without taking away any of the red color from it. So, I mean, overall I'm really impressed with this down paint booth. I mean, I just wet the floor, and you know, since it's a positive pressure system, it just kind of pushes all the stuff out. You can see all the little holes and stuff in the edge, and that's why the Supra is covered up out there. But I feel like this filter's like a little bit clogged. I don't know, when I painted the Supra, I had 2 of these, and then, you know, one went bad, but I definitely need to get another one, kind of help clear it out a little bit better. But overall, it worked pretty well. I just mostly like it for all the lighting and kind of having like a condensed space that you can kind of keep clean. But I mean, look at that. Looks pretty good. There's not even really much peel in it. I mean, there's a little bit, but not much, and there's not much dirt as well. I mean, it's pretty impressive. So yeah, I kind of did the little fingernail test. I mean, it's kind of tacky. Not tacky. It's been a little over an hour since this stuff has been sitting in here, but I really do want to put that cover on before we go. So I'm gonna put it on. All right, guys, there she is. And that's not a bad looking engine bay. I mean, given the fact that the VVTi intake manifold isn't necessarily the prettiest intake manifold in the world, but I mean, overall, damn mosquito. But yeah, looks pretty good. I like the black, the silver, and the red. It kind of goes with the theme of the car. I mean, I almost think this would have looked pretty good if it was black as well. That would have kind of matched the whole theme. I almost did want to paint this bottom piece down there, this bottom coil cover. I almost wanted to paint that red as well, and I almost did. I thought that would be kind of cool, but felt like it would have almost been a little bit too much red. You can see David, we got this, it's like a Powerhouse Racing, like 10 AN adapter that you basically hook up right here, and then you can kind of run the AN lines. I need to clock it a little bit differently, kind of figure out exactly what I'm going to do for the power steering. Dave installed this earlier, and this is the line, like the high pressure line that goes to the rack. Kind of cleans it up versus over the stock one, and then I'm gonna probably try to add a power steering cooler in the return line, because we basically deleted that stock one, which I don't really think that would do much good in the first place. But yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with it. I need to press in the little AN fitting adapters for the deal, or for the valve cover, and then we will be probably running some catch can lines and doing stuff like that. So maybe tomorrow we'll kind of officially get this engine kind of together as far as, you know, all the pulleys on the front. I have a fluid dampener. You know, maybe we'll put a belt and stuff on it. Try, you know, start running stuff for the power steering. Coolant. I have the radiator and everything that needs to go in here. The radiator's over there. And yeah, just a bunch of little stuff like that. I lost some dang valve cover bolts. I have to be like the worst person about actually losing stuff. I took the whole JZ apart over here, and then everything was sitting right there, and like I had a box, and then there's no box, and I don't know where any of it is, and there's too much stuff laying around. So I had to go to Big R earlier and actually buy some bolts and stuff to officially bolt it on there. But yeah, we're getting pretty close. I need to run the wiring harness and all that stuff too, but that'll be in you know, a separate video. But I appreciate you guys watching and kind of sticking around. You know, a couple of guys I seen comment were like, "Hey, why don't you finish that thing already?" And it's like, I am. So yeah, thank you guys again, and I'll catch you tomorrow, hopefully.